Hey, how you guys doing? This is a positive choice of voice coming to you with some truth. And this is actually my first video. So if you guys enjoy this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with somebody that you feel like it would benefit them. Now, what I want to talk about is obviously through the title you can see the problem with relationships in our generation. Now, some of you all, you may not feel like that there's a problem with relationships in our generation, but you look up, you see these couples, younger couples, for instance, and they're all booed up, they're together, they're cuddling and everything else, and it looks good from the outside looking in. But then all of a sudden, boom, you look up, you don't see them with each other. You see them bashing each other on social media and stuff like that, or all this other drama that happens after they break up, right? And you may wonder, like, okay, why is this person bitter towards this person? Why is this person angry towards this person? Because it looked good on Instagram, right? It looked good on Facebook or Twitter, but in all actuality it wasn't. And a lot of times that's because of the motive of why people get into relationships. Now, I'm 20 years old, and I'm being honest, I've never really had a real relationship before. I've talked with other females, I've talked with other women, but I've never really had a real relationship. But I'm thankful for that because I see what can come out of that. And just because of that, I feel like it made me see relationships differently. You see these couples that's on the screen, like Cardi B and Offset, NBA Youngboy and Jania, DDG and Kennedy, and you see, like, for instance, NBA Youngboy and his girlfriend, they had looked like a pretty good relationship. They were all lovey-dovey together and cuddling and stuff like that. But NBA Youngboy, I guess, eventually ended up cheating on his girl, or not cheating, but ended up getting his girl pregnant and then ended up leaving her. Or you see, like, Offset and Cardi B, Offset ends up cheating on Cardi B supposedly, right? And you wonder why, since these couples, they look like they have so much things going for themselves in their relationship, but at the end of the day, it's not exactly what it seems. And now that I'm older and I understand more things, I actually do know why some of these things happen. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not to be nosy. The purpose of this is not to pick on their relationship or to talk about their flaws or anything, but it's just that I don't want to see any of you guys or anybody else out there who's just looking for a genuine relationship end up getting hurt. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So to start, I just want to talk about love. And when I say love, people have different meanings or different interpretations of what they feel like love is. Now, if you ask somebody what they think love is, they may give you a completely contrary answer to the next person. But in all actuality, you have to understand that God is love. That's the key component. If you're going to talk about being in a relationship, or if you're going to talk about being in any kind of covenant, marriage, or anything like that with anybody, you have to understand that principle, that God is love. And to say that you're in love is saying that you're in God, or that you're in the will of God with somebody. So when we say that we're in God, it's like we're saying that we're in His will, we're in His purpose, and we're in His plan that He has for us. Now, I'm not even saying that you have to necessarily be saved to be in a healthy relationship, but you are in His will. You're abiding by His guidelines and His rules that He gave a man and a woman. Now, the reason why you see some of these couples struggle in their relationships is because they lack a true understanding of what love is. Love is not defined by the flesh, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But love is not defined by the flesh. People think that, okay, love is like how good someone can make me feel, or how much stuff that someone can buy me, or how someone does all these things for me that makes me feel a certain way. But in all actuality, love is just being in the general will of God. See, because some people, when you're in a relationship, they may not be able to buy you everything that you want all the time, or they may not be able to do certain things for you that you want all the time. So that's when the true love shows. Now, when I'm talking about the flesh, when we get to talking about the flesh, I want you all guys to know that there's two different components of the flesh. One component is being lust, and the other component is being affection. Now, lust is defined as having a sexual desire for somebody, but you could really lust without having a sexual desire. Like, lust is just a genuine and extreme want for something, if that makes sense. So you could lust after somebody's house, somebody's car, somebody's clothes, all those different kinds of things. But relationships, we're really talking about lust in a sexual sense. And affection is just the feeling of liking for somebody, or that wanting to give the feeling of gentleness for somebody. And affection is often associated with our emotions. Now, I was just thinking about this the other day. A lot of people that claim that they're in love, like some of these couples that you see, they say, "Oh, I'm in love and I'm in this," but a lot of times they're just in their flesh. They're just in sin, or they're in their feelings, which is not love. You know what I mean? So the thing that keeps us from love is our flesh. That's why God tells us in Galatians 5:24, He says, "Crucify your flesh with its lusts and affections." And God tells us this not because He wants us to not have fun. It's not because He wants our relationships to be bad or not have any kind of excitement in it or anything like that. But God tells us this because He doesn't want our flesh to take advantage of us. Sometimes when we, move out of our flesh is impulsive. So it's like, have you ever made that decision where you made a decision and then you look back, you're like, dang, I wish I wouldn't have done that. That was your flesh that caused you to do that decision, to act impulsively and not think things through the spirit. So when you have a relationship that's based off the flesh, you're basing it off of your affections for somebody, you're basing it off of your lust for somebody, that's what makes your relationship vulnerable to even the enemy, like the devil, to come in and use you guys against each other. And I think just the lust is more a thing associated with men, while affection is associated with women. But either way, on both sides of the card, it could be detrimental to either one of you guys if your flesh is not crucified. And to validate that, I'm gonna give an example. Like Jesus, for instance, when Jesus died on the cross, Jesus being God and God is love, love died on the cross for us, and He crucified His flesh for us, and so that He can have a relationship with us. And the Bible says, no greater love that have any man that he give up his life for his friends. So that He did that so that He can have a relationship with us, so He can be with us, so He can spend time with us, and He can just ultimately be with us. But He requires that we in return crucify our flesh for Him. So it's a hand in hand, it's a mutual thing. And when you crucify your flesh for somebody, that's indicating a sacrifice. And the people that you truly do love each other, or the people that you truly do love, you'll sacrifice for them, or you'll be willing to sacrifice for them, because that's what love did for us. That's what God did for us. He sacrificed His life for us. But a lot of times with these couples, you don't see them sacrificing themselves, but you don't see them crucifying their flesh, but yet they're embracing their flesh. They're embracing their lust, they're embracing their affections, their emotions and their likings, which at the end of the day, your flesh will pass away. And that's what the Bible also tells us. It says the lust of the world will pass away. So anytime you have a lust for somebody, or you're basing your relationship with somebody off of your lust or off of your flesh, it's gonna pass away, because that's just what the Bible tells us. But the Bible also does say that those that do the will of God shall abide forever, or last forever. The word abide means also to last, or to preserve. So when you're in the will of God with somebody, and you're in His will with them, your relationship can last forever. There are certain things that I believe that you can do to mess that up, but if it's God ordained, you're in His will with that person, it can last forever. So that's what you need to focus on. Don't worry about being in your feelings with somebody, getting caught up in your feelings because he bought you this gift or he bought you this, that. And man, don't get caught up in a woman that she could do all these different things for you and make you feel good, because at the end of the day, that's all just the flesh. And I'm telling you, man, your flesh is not worth it. Your flesh is not worth it to just end up be pleased for a little bit of time and then pass away. You realize that you end up wasting your time with this person. So on that note, man, I just want you all guys to know that the Bible does tell us that there are no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, who is love. There's no condemnation for those who are in love, who walk not by the flesh, but by the Spirit. So I encourage you guys today, everyone listening to me, young, old, but most of you all guys that probably listen to me are probably young, but just walk by the Spirit. Seek God first, and seek God before you get into a relationship to see if it will be an actual meaningful or worth investing in this person. So with that being said, man, I thank you guys for watching. This has been a Positive Choice of Voice, and yeah, you all have a good one. Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave because I wrote a blog about this actually too, which is more in detail, because for the sake of time I just kept it short. So I'm gonna leave the link in the bio, or rather in the description, so you guys could go click on that, go check that out. But remember, this is Positive Choice of Voice, and you guys always stay positive. Alright, be blessed, y'all.